Hello, 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 and welcome everybody. If you're watching this video, then you missed our first day of week 2, or would like to review what we did one more time. So let's go ahead and get started. This week, we started with our exploration of the technology unit. We began by introducing what technology is, kind of thought about it as a group. And we talked about some core technologies. So how do we categorize technology? How do we split it up? It's so ubiquitous. It's so everywhere. It's so difficult to talk about technology as a whole because almost anything is technology. We need some kind of way to ground ourselves and separate these things into buckets that we can then easily manipulate and think about. So how do we do that? We then talked about innovation and invention. How do we separate those two? What is the difference? And we really focused on understanding the core technologies and explaining the difference between invention and innovation. We are going to be looking at the design loop that's on here, but we did not get to that today. We'll be looking at that next time. All right, for our warm-up, what I had you guys do is we worked as in small groups with partners to figure out some ideas for what you think is a good way to categorize technological ideas. How do we break them up? Should we have a group for all household appliances? Should we have a group for building materials? Things like that. And we got all sorts of interesting ways that people wanted to categorize technologies. We then talked about, well, what is technology? Technology is really not just physical things, but also any kind of process or knowledge that is passed down and used to extend our abilities and satisfy our wants and needs. So it's very, very, very broad. Things that just exist in your head could be considered technology, so long as they can be used for these purposes. Technology could be very, very basic, like a pointy stick counts. It could be very abstract, something like how to create a particular kind of microchip. The very idea of how to do it could be considered a technology. So very, very broad subject. Now, in order to kind of make sense of it, we are going to break it up into 9 core technologies, and everything technological is going to kind of be built up out of various pieces from within these 9 building blocks. They're the foundations of all systems, and pretty much anything you touch is probably going to be composed of more than one of these categories. So you can consider these basic building blocks. We have mechanical, which is any kind of physical object for the most part. Things like wheels, levers, all of that goes here. Electrical, so something that uses electricity in a passive manner, such as a light bulb, your toaster, things like that. Electrical or electronic technology is anything that has a microchip in it. So any kind of computer, calculator, anything that is using electricity in a more sophisticated manner to perform logical tasks. Structural technology, very straightforward. Things you live in, things that are like playgrounds, anything like that is a structure. Fluid technology, this has to do with both properties of fluids as well as using other materials to enclose fluids. Optical technology, things like cameras, lenses, lasers. Thermal has to do with both heating and cooling. Biotechnology, of course, is any kind of living thing being harnessed for its properties. Creating fake meat out of plant products is a big one right now. It's a biotechnology. Materials technology is kind of inherent to almost anything you touch. We have to pick a material that goes well with it. So we have to refine it, figure out the properties we want, and then finally decide on which material is the best fit. Innovation and invention are 2 words that we use interchangeably, but they mean slightly different things. For this class, it's important that we understand what those things are. An invention is something completely brand new. So we are not talking about designing a new cell phone here. We're talking about the very first cell phone. But even that, was that really an invention? I would argue not. An innovation is something that uses several technologies that already exist, or takes a technology that exists and improves it slightly. So I would say even a cell phone, the very first one, simply took ideas that already existed, radio waves, phones, and combined them together into one beautiful technology that we see everywhere now. So most things that you see around you today are really innovations. The line can sometimes be blurry, and very few inventions really come along nowadays. So this is a good kind of base to go off of. Now, after this point in class, we do have a small assignment. So please go ahead and make sure you complete this if you didn't get a chance. It is located on our course page, inside modules, scrolling all the way down to week 2, and labeled assignment 3, unit 1, exit card. Please make sure you check this out. It is a short 3-question thing, very, very easy, nothing too crazy. All I'd like you to do is, in your own words, define technology for me. What kind of technology do you use every day that either impacts your life positively or negatively? You could talk about almost anything here. And then name a technology that you think had the greatest impact on us. So what made the greatest contribution to civilization today? And again, this is very open to interpretation. You could go really old time and talk about something ancient like the wheel. You could go very modern and talk about space travel. Whatever you think is the most appropriate is fine by me. If you missed our material distribution, we will be having another one. I'm not sure when, so please stand by for that information. I will distribute it at a later time. Otherwise, I hope to see you guys in class next time if you didn't get a chance to attend today. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you all very much.